Push and shove going on. O'Meara going through against Cripps. But we're almost ready for a start here. Perfect conditions at the MCG. Two of the great clubs of AFL football. It's Carlton versus Hawthorn at the G. And away we go. And Big Reeves gets his first go. Up against Pitternet. Away they go. And the big man gets his first tap in football. Well done, son. They dive in on top. CJ, Jath gets it out. Walpole, umpire says you just dropped it. Free kick to Carlton. They'll go inside 50 for the first time today.
Yeah, so Ned Reeves starts in the ruck, the #1 position. Ben McAvoy starting forward.
So McAvoy last week not able to do much in the ruck. Silvani under the pack here. Ball punched away. Over the line and out of bounds.
That holding the ball there, Ed. It looked like they were hotter on it last night in the Brisbane-Richmond game. A lot of criticism the umpires copped. Friday night's game. Last Friday night's game, Geelong v St Kilda. So it looks like the umps are tending to pay holding the ball this week.
Pitternet hits it to the back of the pack. It was a good tap. No one there, though, for the Carlton side. Picked up by Williams. Twisting and turning. That was a clever kick. Curnow, that was a clever kick downfield. Free kick to Carlton, shot at goal.
And a little win to Curnow. I think he's running with O'Meara. We'll see it as the game plays out. So O'Meara might have seen that as a chance to get one into his opponent when he wasn't really looking, but down the field free kick.
So Eddie Betts would like to kick goal number 625 in this celebrated career. He comes in to put the Blues on the board in the first minute and a half of play. And Eddie Betts strolls in and splits the middle. Good on Ed. Great stuff. Great start. The Blues get the first goal.
Been in pretty good form too the last few weeks. He'd be happy with that. Here's the late hit. Yeah, so O'Meara gets him late. Just didn't need to do that. It was undisciplined. So that's a poor start after the criticism the Hawks mids have received during the week. But he's starting to find a bit of form, Louis.
He was on fire last week early, wasn't he, Eddie Betts? So, I mean, when he's up and going, and you never discount these stars of our game, because if you give them half a chance, they'll take every opportunity. So it's a good start. A little bit of undisciplined stuff from Hawthorn in the early pieces, but this is the clearance they got to win. Pitternet sees a young ruckman coming up against him. He's been quite aggressive in the start of this game too.
So Ned Reeves again with McAvoy playing forward up against Pitternet, the ex-Hawk, the young up-and-coming Hawk. He's been on the list a couple of years. Alistair Clarkson caught him the big noodle during the week, Ned Reeves. He's doing okay. Early clearance toward half forward. Phillips knew the contact was coming, but he didn't have prior. Walsh wrapped him up. Even
that centre bounce there, Mitchell started forward as well. We don't often see that. Well, we haven't seen it this year. So Cousins starts in the centre bounce. Tom Mitchell starts forward.
Reeves got another piece of that. Height, that advantage that it can take when it's a 50-50 ball high in the air. It's almost like a jump ball.
So they're trying different things, you know, new ruckman, new centre bounce mixture, trying to rejuvenate this midfield after last week.
Again with the reach from behind, but down to Cripps, so they don't get the clearance off his palm. It'll hand back to Doherty from Walsh. Got it to half forward. Good attack. Harbour caught though. Juff tried to flick it away, but a throw. So Fogarty about to send the Blues, although is it going to come back? They weren't allowed to play onto advantage. So Fogarty to take it from just forward of the wing.
Been a terrific recruit, Lockie Fogarty, crossing over from Geelong. He's had a fantastic season, career highs in most areas.
So Fogarty to Doherty. Good kick to the pocket. Eddie Betts. Knew what he was doing, then went off the carpet. It's over the line and out of bounds.
Interesting to see the move of Doherty to the wing. David Teague spoke about it pre-game. So last week, I think it was his best game. Played with more aggression, moving up from half-back. Williams has gone back now.
So to the defensive 50, the big men fly. They all go up too. There was plenty of them. Jones got the thump on the ball in the end, and we'll have another ball up, 55 out.
I actually like Doherty up around the back of the contest, Louis. It's an important structural position, that wing roll.
So Pitternet tries to grab it out of the ruck and does quite well in the end. Gets it inside 50. Just shinned it forward. That's all he needed. CJ to the boundary line. Good tackle from Silvani. We'll have a throw in.
Well, he uses the ball so well, and I think probably the knock on his game in the early part of the season, he wasn't defending as well as they would have liked because he thought he was that offensive threat out of half-back.
From the flick down, well pounced on by Frost, got the handball to Morrison. He in turn De Hardwick looks up. He's got Wingard, who was superb last week. Almost single-handedly dragged the Hawks over the line. Kicks toward half forward. Kazitsky just couldn't find the handle quickly enough. Ball in.
You can even see that as the Hawks were transitioning out of their defensive half, the Carlton wingers, the Carlton offside players were really screaming back in their defence to try and help out the defence.
So Reeves and Pittonet again. They dance their way to the ball. Pittonet with that reach. And then the thump on by Warple, and it might work, although wraparound tackle by Saab was superb, and ball. Interesting call. That Mitchell had prior.
Yeah, that's the difficult one. I mean, he was trying to get rid of the ball. The tackle was just executed perfectly.
To Pittonet, to the running Williams, straight down the spine. Pulls his kick late, sees Silvani on the move. Back from concussion, back into the lineup. An important addition to their forward line. Just pops it out in front of Betts, and he can't get the half volley. Greaves back into the lineup this week to Phillips. Heads wide towards the wing, and Wiedering, nice pluck.
She's a good player, isn't he?
And takes off, looks down, sees his man on the ground in Lewis, kicks it inside or towards the forward 50. Beautiful marksman taken there by the superstar Sammy Walsh. So 55 metres out. Silvani's pass just marginally short on Eddie Betts' lead. It was well crafted, this time to the top of the square. Ball spills out to Warple. Wingard for the Hawks, takes it out wide. There's not much on ahead. McAvoy's the only player ahead. Warple heads up that way, and in the end, that is a good effort by Cousins. He got crunched and deserved the free kick on the mark. So right on the Cousins, that was courage. He knew there were big men coming at him. McAvoy peeled off. So he was the only Hawk who could get the ball, and he did. So well done to Cousins. He kicks it up to the forward 50, off hands. Middle of the ground, Eddie Betts has to compete and does well. Good thump away there by Greaves, it was, the young Hawthorn player. In the meantime, it's Cripps, 2 bounces. Looks up, little short kick is a good one. Silvani almost had it, just spilled it. Twice they've gone inside 50 and just missed with chest marks off the ground. Murphy's kick was a good one. They dive in on top of it. Umpire says, I'll have it. We'll have a ball up. So
Carlton's just got to tidy up those inside 50 kicks. He did say chest marks head, but they had opportunity, didn't they, to hit that man lace out. It should be out in front. Just need to tidy that part of their game up.
In the ruck contest, through Warple's hands, Mitchell mopped it up, got up to Impey, squeezed the kick wide, and it's a race, boundary line, and Phillips. And Phillips won. Collects it, has some time to spend it wisely, pops it towards Lewis, and the fist toward the boundary, almost a win.
Better by Lewis. He was outmarked before by Wiedering, so he needs to really compete. Cannot allow Wiedering to be able to take intercept marks. So that ball needs to come to ground, preferably in the forward position for his crummers.
Again, Reeves, Pittonet, Howe, who was the late inclusion with Shields, the late out for Hawthorn. Walsh, another possession. He slides it off the side towards Silvani, wrapped up immediately by Cousins.
Bit sloppy. Carlton's kicking sloppy early, going at about 50%. Will tick over. That's not good enough.
that's the downside. The upside is they're getting it at least, which is good news. That was a good hit from the first gamer in Ned Reeves. He certainly got the height. 6'11" in the old, 211 centimetres. Hawthorn's tallest ever player.
I thought Max Bailey was tall.
Well,
he was only 207 centimetres, I think.
He's going well. I'll be interested when he has to go and see his dad for a pay rise. Justin, the CEO of the Hawthorn Football Club.
How would you approach that, Ed?
I'd get Susie, his beautiful mum, to go in and do the job. So it's a great footballing family, the Reeves. In the meantime, Carlton's just building it up at the moment. So the kick comes in from centre field. Mackay's first look at it. Owies to the ground. Cottrell is in there, gets the handball out. That was good handball. Now a chance for Carlton. Silvani takes the mark. Read it beautifully in the air, got to the front position. They can go back and put it through from 15 metres out.
And a nice little block from Cripps. He realised that someone else was in a stronger position. That play being Silvani, just held Frost out of the marking contest so he couldn't come over and impact.
Now, Jack Silvani, I think, has had a great season. He's missed 5 matches through injury, just hasn't had a run at it, but his career accuracy, 29% this season at goal. It's a career low for him, so he comes in from pretty much point-blank range, and this time, no mistake, Carlton get their second through Silvani. We've been saying that for generations.
Yeah, absolutely, since the 80s.
Don't forget Surge. Get back to the 60s for Surge.
Happy with that. Yeah, great to see. What I liked about that, the Carlton build-up, was they're more controlled, Louis. So they play on more than any side in the competition. Sometimes I think at their detriment, they go so fast they can't get organised if they do turn the ball over. They're more composed. They kick the ball through the middle of the ground. So when they did enter inside 50, at least they were set up behind.
Jeez, I've just said Rita Silvani's just been on the line. Don't forget Surge.
Yes,
don't forget Surge. That's
the patriarch.
It's Soskost on there. Son of Steve, grandson of Surge.
Yes.
Well done, Jack. Good stuff.
And he's an important part of their team, Eddie. He's a terrific competitor. He's tough, gets involved, plays an important role in that forward line.
So Tom De Koning back into the lineup. First game of the season against McAvoy in the ruck. Good start for the Blues, and they get the clearance here. Walsh found it in the middle of the congestion. Morrison cut it off, gave to Mitchell to Giaff. And he blasts it long, gains some distance, gets it wide to Kazitsky. Brilliant run by Kazitsky to make that ground. Hawthorn need a settler. Haven't scored yet in 11 minutes of football. Mitchell goes. Hits a pretty good spot with the kick. Lewis, his target. Wiedering got there and put it to grass, and that looked a little high. Walpole looked up at the umpire, said, come on. And advantage had been paid, and it hits the post. I think advantage was only taken by the Hawk because he thought the high wasn't going to be paid.
Yeah,
it was such a late call.
Yep. I'm with you. Should have come back.
Yeah, wow. So Blues dodge a huge bullet there. Curnow along the boundary line towards Mackay. Flick on at half forward. Wingard knew exactly what he was trying to do. Frost bangs it back towards the wing. Giaff, Howe protected him. Gets it, paddles it. Well read by Curnow. To Betts. Little squeeze pass doesn't quite work, and McAvoy cuts it off.
So, Jordan, what do Hawks have to do? They've gone in a few times, but without great effect, have they?
They just got to find the balance. So they're a little bit more measured today.
So Hardwick bombs it long, and with the inevitable scenario of a punch away and Carlton get the ball out of defensive 50, which is good football. De Koning kicks it forward, but McAvoy with the big stretch goes back and takes the mark. Goes to the middle of the ground. It's a good kick, opens things up. Good play. So Moore out wide to Morrison. Morrison on centre wing has a paddock, as they used to say, in front of him. Decides to go quickly to Lewis, who overruns the ball at the back of the pack. It's Williams in the pink boots for Carlton. Twisting and turning, found some space. Now he runs into a bit of trouble. Jones under pressure, gets the left foot away, and here come the Hawks. Here they go. Morrison from 40 metres out. Puts it through. That's what you do to punish a turnover like that. Bit of lair-rising in the defence by the Carlton side, and they get punished.
Well, it was a good play, and it came off the back of a McAvoy intercept mark. But this is the inside 50. Long, Wiedering drops the ball, but there's no method to it. And that was a free kick that was eventually paid, but the whistle, as you said, Dwayne, was too late. So then they get another chance. So McAvoy marks the ball, brings it into the centre of the ground. So when you do that, it spreads the defence. So now when Carlton get an opportunity, there's no set structure. There's all players all over the ground. Makes it really hard to make a decision outside a defensive 50. That's what you want. If you're Hawthorn, forward half turnovers, make your side pay if they turn it over in your forward half.
I love that from Hanrahan. He didn't give up on the chase, Williams, and he forced the mistake, and that crowd led to the goal. Well done. Clarko be wrapped with that forward pressure, and that's what Hanrahan has to bring to the lineup.
Good bounce to Koning. McAvoy beat him, but not to Troy Mira, whose handball couldn't find the target. And stolen back by Walsh again to De Koning. Just caught his boot according to the umpire. Play on. Morrison left it behind. Toe off the deck, but towards Impey. Half held, but not yet fully held. So advantage Hawthorn. Straight down the spine. Bruce with a bounce. A paddock in front. Tries it long. Top of the square. Reeves is down there. Reeves is held. Or did he do the holding? He did the holding.
Well, he was held before he did the holding.
Jones goes out wide.
Just nil all draw, I think, there, Ed, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
But it's interesting, the umpire that was right there didn't pay the free kick. It was the umpire 50 metres down the field.
He's like the narrator at the pantomime. He only saw the later act. Didn't see the creep up beforehand. So Reeves would have loved to have had his first shot at goal, no doubt about that. Big Harry.
It's good. Harry needs to get involved, get up the ground, get a couple of uncontested marks early.
So, Brady, for a big power forward, will come to you when the ball's not coming in the way you'd like it. Get up the ground and get your own
Go
ball.
and find it, Ed. Spot on.
Stocker. High up and under. Silvani's under the pack here. Good use of the body by Jack Silvani. Too good, says the umpire 50 metres away.
Again, the central umpire picking that free kick away. The actual closest umpire didn't pick the free.
Yeah, probably just a little bit too aggressive in that marking contest. Otherwise, would have got away with it.
Half a beat early. Need to be within 5 metres of the ball to make contact.
That's where I'm interested in Hawthorn's game. It's just been a real struggle for them in the back half with their kicking skills especially.
Scrimshaw long. Reeves with the height. Little bump before he could get near it. McAvoy and Reeves are both there. Stocker on hands and knees. Walsh, he's had a ton of it, but you wouldn't expect anything else. High towards half forward and Harbuck, good mark. Sarah Jones downstairs.
Zach Williams isn't happy with his right leg. He's been receiving some treatment from the trainers, testing it out, but he's not happy. It looks like he's going to get some work on it now.
That might have happened when he was dragged down in that tackle, when he was trying to clear for the Carlton side. In the meantime, 50.
No one on the mark either.
So Harbuck gets the handball over the top. Here we go. Hanrahan has a shot at goal and hits the post. That's 2 posters for the Hawks in this term, both of them to Hanrahan.
We see the mark, and then Curnow just came in. Yeah, probably not 50, probably just let that go and tell Harbuck to get back off the mark, but you shouldn't be able to have a 15 metre forward handball and you're forward 50.
I don't know what 50 looks like if that's not 50, George. Jeez, I'd like to be playing for you up on, mate.
Sometimes you don't hear the whistle, Ed.
Oh,
Fair enough.
your excuse.
Fair enough.
If you can fake sincerity, you got it made. Walsh dances his way inside 50, drives it goal square, perfection, and Owies kicks it from the goal line. Brilliance from the Blues.
It was great to see, wasn't it? It's just blood rule for Hawthorn coming off. So Sammy Walsh, we know he's a great runner. He's one of the great runners. Let's just watch this, see when you pick this up.
To the right of the screen.
Look at him just sneak out the back. Now, is that crafty midfield play or going for a rest or a little bit of cheating? I'm not sure. I think it's great reading of the play. He's a star, Sammy Walsh. Gets out the back. It falls beautifully. Leads to the goal. So well done there. Hawthorn need to be able to watch that.
And Jarman Impey on the open side just got caught ball watching. If you're on the open side and you're a defender, you've got to be turning your head, making sure you're checking where your opponent is, referencing your opponent.
What happened? Sam Walsh had made the change, so he'd swapped with a forward. Didn't realise that obviously the Hawthorn defenders or Hawthorn mids didn't realise that, so he was able to exploit them out the back. Great play.
So Frost having a bit of a patch up there. Let's hope he's okay as De Koning goes into goes into the ruck. Kick out wide. That was good pressure and good courage from both players there. Hanrahan for Hawthorn and Doherty for Carlton. Good stuff. Now it spills out wide. Doherty's kick is a good one. Setterfield. At the back, Eddie Betts has a couple of goes at the touch ball. Jath, all handball, wanted it coming back. Good play by Bruce. Realised someone was hot on his hammer. Off hands. Morrison's been good. Grabbed high, gets the free kick. Gets rewarded for putting his body over the ball and going hard at it.
And well done by Koziski, just to bring the ball to ground, not to be outmarked by Jones.
Kick just went to 15 and was intercepted beautifully by the man of the moment.
Having a fair day, 12th disposal, Ed.
He's got the David Parker medal in his pocket after 19 minutes. Let's see if he can keep going for another 3 quarters.
Little flick over the top. Cottrell's got it. Gave it to Gibbons. Got some space. Pulled the kick wide to Owies. Just kicked one. Should be confident. Turns inside. Heads toward goal. Goal square to Koning.
I loved what Eddie Betts did there.
Yep.
Eddie Betts led away from De Koning. He was standing in the goal square on his own. Now, Eddie could have just stayed there and tried to get the kick over the top. That's unselfish play. Great leadership from a veteran, a legendary veteran, of course, but unselfish play.
First game for the season. And he's driven it through by a coat of paint.
Now, we were talking before the game. I was watching De Koning. He missed one from 15 metres out and didn't have another practice to get his confidence up. He still missed that from here.
I think I saw the same thing. So if you watch the bottom of the screen, Greaves, as soon as he sees Eddie Betts, then he's got a decision to make and just creates a little bit of doubt in his mind that Eddie Betts is the threat in the forward 50, and he didn't see De Koning over the back. Really good lead, as you said, Brownie, by Eddie Betts to drag the defender out. You're right, I watched him pre-game as well. It didn't look like he had his kicking boots on.
Looked like he had his slippers on. Oh, look at that one. Oh, wow. Anyway, it's in the book as a goal. You get 6 points for it, and Carlton now put a bit of distance between the Hawks. 4 goals straight, 24, 1-2-8.
They could have been further up too. If they had have connected inside forward 50 a little bit better, they could be further in front.
And Frost says, I was off the ground when that happened. It wasn't my fault. He's being attended to. He's got the what they use, the hemorrhoid cream on the scalp there to constrict the blood vessels. In the meantime, Wingard had it, lost it, went again, and then turned it over. Bit of bad luck on that occasion. The race is on. Jath does it beautifully. Oh, good play, good strong play as Jath picks it up. Comes out wide. Phillips with the new boots on today, up towards the wing position. Again, Wingard does it well, and the ball lands in the hands of Cousins.
Waste no time, goes long. He's got a 2-on-2 goal square because this kid was down there, out-muscled by Jones. One of the best one-on-one defenders in the comp. Lost just 16% of his one-on-ones this season. Having another great year.
If they can get it over, they're out here, Carlton.
So Owies hands it off to Cottrell. On his left, spears it to De Koning. Good attack from Hardigan. Betts came up with the dough. Feeds the handball inside to Gibbons. Shut down just in time. Eddie lurking trip. Caught by the leg, no free. Umpire said keep going, boys.
Just above the knee.
Well, they did well to defend then, Hawthorn, because if any of those possessions had have gotten through, they had 3 Carlton forwards forward of the ball without an opponent.
Carlton fans are screaming. Eddie gives the umpire a bit of a look. A knowing look saying, you owe me one, pal, you owe me one. Just let him know. Is that what you do, Brownie, sometimes like that? Just let the umpy know.
Yeah, nicely though, Ed.
Yeah, he did it nicely.
Yeah.
Now let's see, should he have got the free kick?
It was a play on, I reckon. It was a good call.
Yep.
Scrimshaw blasts it wide. Reeves is down there, couldn't get the run at it. Kaczynski did get a run at it and thumped it toward Howe, and Cottrell ball in.
Both Jones and Wiedering have been very good early, Dwayne. They competed well in the air. So the Hawthorn forwards, Kaczynski and Lewis, need to really have a look at their contest work. Can't allow those guys to either take an intercept mark or have a strong spoil back in their team's direction.
Reeves with the reach over to Koning, but again, down to Curnow, to Krebs, toward Mackay. Ugly bounce, but it stays in.
Oh.
Mackay nearly pinched it and went. Slaps it in. Eddie Betts. Throw. Henry was going to scroll in. That's 2 calls against Eddie.
That would have been one of the great goals of the year, that one.
Do you think he knows it by the look on his face?
Oh.
I think it's just another opportunity, as we spoke about. Oh, if that wasn't a throw.
Let's have a look. Oh, that's all right.
That's a tap.
See, no romance, the umpires. That's from the ATO in their day jobs, aren't they? Come on, guys. It's not an audit. In the meantime, Wingard kicks it forward, up towards centre wing. Hanrahan's been good. He's grabbed, though, thrown into the ground. Umpire letting it go. Good stuff. The umpire's been pretty good as Cripps emerges with the ball. That's what the Carlton side need. Their skipper to stand up. Big Harry is there. Big Hardigan did really well against him. Eddie Betts working hard, grabbed without the ball. Was it free kick? No, umpire said Fogarty kept going. That's in the back.
A bit stiff, actually. Ed Curnow ran into the umpire and he was blindsided. So May not have seen that, but geez, Eddie Betts looks sharp.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks really good in the last few weeks.
That's as in the back as it gets. I don't know where the other 3 umpires were. Anyway, 2 umpires. In the meantime, the ball slapped out. Wingard starting to get a bit of it and playing well. Shins it forward up to centre wing.
McAvoy, a little slap on, was dainty, but there was no one there, and Jones read it to perfection. Heads long, Mackay can't jump, just got up there, but didn't bring it down. Big ball to win. Reeves, it was a long way down to get it, but he got it, gave to Wingard. Bounced it back to the wing. Cousins, Hanrahan, open space, Kaczynski. He could go here. He's got Bruce in a one-on-one, inside 50, pops it out in front, it floated it to him like a butterfly.
And that's when you can get some forward momentum. If you've got a little bit of speed on the ball further up the field, because Jones plays in front, you can get over him. So he's actually out of position if you can get some ground further up the field.
69% career goal kicker. 14 goals, 5 this season. Tough angle. Heads long, doesn't kick it across the face, and it's thumped through. Sarah Jones downstairs.
Zach Williams is back onto the ground with his right knee heavily strapped. He doesn't look 100%, but he is back out there.
Thanks, Sarah. Keep an eye on that one. High price Carlton recruit. And he's got the ball in hand as we speak. You can see the bandage on his right leg as he kicks up the line to Gibbons.
Does it all just look a bit easy for Carlton at the moment? Hawthorn's only at 8 tackles. They're just waltzing through Hawthorn's defence.
Fogarty's out the back here if they can get it moving, but they go sideways and turn it over instead. And here we go. Opportunity of a lifeguard for Wingard. Of a lifetime for Wingard is what I was trying to say. As Kaczynski runs up and takes the mark.
Still have to execute that, ain't you? Can't kick the ball back to the opposition, but I just thought Carlton looked like they were doing it too easily coming in defence there.
So Jacob Kaczynski, number 1 at the club for scoreboard impact per game this season. Exciting young Hawk. Has kicked 11 goals, 7 in his career so far. Game number 9. Hawks need it. 2 minutes and counting on the clock. Kaczynski comes in. Oh, he's measured that beautifully. That has gone straight through the middle. Beautiful goal. Well played.
It was a gift, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I like the way he competes, Louis. He keeps presenting.
It's one of his great strengths. If you speak to anyone that's involved in the club, he's got a bit of mongrel, what you said at the start of the game. He's got that in him, but he wouldn't have expected this. Carlton had the ball. They were really composed coming out of their back half, but it was just a skill error to the open side, and then a couple of really important touches. So Luke Bruce there gets the forward handball, but this guy has really changed the momentum of the Hawthorn side in the last 10 minutes because he's playing further up the field. He's the X factor in Chad Wingard. Beautiful delivery inside forward 50.
So a big 1 minute 49 coming up here.
They'd be happy to be within 10 points because inside 50, 17-9 for the quarter, Dwayne. So still good to be in touch.
See if they can keep this momentum swing their way going. Curnow traps it, caught. Got to kick away. Phillips waiting for it. Saw it sail over his head, but he's on his own on the wing in a paddock. Plenty of time to use it wisely, and he does to Mitchell. Down to 90 seconds. Mitchell calling for the leads to come wide. Loads up. He's got Lewis down there. He's got Kaczynski down there. Both can't get the fly at it. Fogarty shook the tackle free. Back alive for Curnow. Rolls into the wing, and Walsh is off and running if it sits. He gathers, looks up, doesn't have a lot that he likes by foot. He's got Cripps by hand. Cripps was spent, and he rolled it towards half forward to Eddie Betts, and it might work. Eddie taps it to his own advantage, to his disadvantage. And Greaves would be pretty happy to see that across the boundary line.
You never want to question a champion like Eddie Betts, but he probably should have grabbed it in that instance because Greaves was so worried about goal side. Eddie could have grabbed it and then turned and faced towards goal and made an execution.
I reckon he thought he got the young bloke. He might grab me without the ball. He's always thinking, isn't he? Geez, he's had a good quarter of footy too, Eddie Betts. Jordan Lewis giving us wonderful insight into the defender's mindset. Here's Murphy. This is a big kick, a big moment for Carlton. Oh, that is sensational. Resolute in defence is Jack Scrimshaw, who has been a great player for the Hawks. That would have been a dagger just before quarter time for the Hawks, but he did it beautifully. Wiedering equally as good, taking a strong mark across half forward.
He just takes back shoulder, doesn't he, Browning? Takes back shoulder, uses his strength.
Last roll of the dice. Silvani, the jumper from 3 deep, and who else but the captain standing in the hole, taking the heat and the Sharon, and maybe take quite a few of these seconds off the clock to quarter time. Ben McAvoy looks up, coming wide, safe option. Didn't have a lot to go to, headed towards the pack though, and it works. Mitchell off the side of the boot, but that should do us. Quarter time, Saturday afternoon football at the home of football, the MCG, 2 traditional rivals in a good old traditional spot.
They did really well in that last 5 minutes. I was impressed with the some of the forwards, the smaller forwards. Hanrahan was very good, put some pressure on, created a goal. Kazitsky kicked a beautiful set shot. I like the look of him, Ed. He continues to compete. So I think the Hawks will be pretty happy that they're only 10 points down at quarter time.
10 points of difference as we head to the second quarter. The great Dwayne Russell said the ball floated in beautifully. Well, it floated like a butterfly before. Here's the man who calls like he's stinging like a bee.
Like a bee.
There he is, okay. Dwayne Russell, ready to go. Jordan Lewis, let's get stuck into the action. It's Carlton Hawthorn in perfect conditions.
Yeah, where else in the world would you rather be than the MCG on a beautiful, fine winter's Saturday afternoon in a contest between 2 great traditional rivals. And there was a time when these 2 teams went head-to-head. It was always match of the day. Tossed in the air, Pitternet and Reeves tie up, and it's a Carlton free. It's going to have to come back to Pitternet. Biggest lead of the match was 17 points. The Blues did hold. Saad drives it long over the head of Mackay, over the head of Silvani. Was it touched? It's taken through by Scrimshaw anyway. And they're behind. Quick kick in. Frost. Headbands this after a little split earlier. Wide ball. Setterfield got hands on it, couldn't mark it. Cripps, delightful pickup. Slung 360, got the handle back to Williams. He feeds it wide. Wiedering, well, he hoped Lewis would bite the fake, but he didn't. Williams got it again and gave to De Koning. Maybe just beyond his range. Has some thought. Pops it up high. Silvani's the jumper. Couldn't get the mark though. Again, Frost front and square, but his kick was poor. And Saad gets a chance to have a crack.
It wasn't a great inside forward 50. It was really hard to mark, which allowed Hardwick to come off and spoil. But Saad would just set up really well behind the ball. So if Hawthorn wanted to rebound on the open side, he was there to stop that. Yet the errant kick outside their defensive 50 landed in his lap.
So he gets a chance to settle here. Quite a few of his shots at goal are when he's on the run, and he's just run about 30. He's got 9 goals, 16 career. With his heart rate down, gets a chance here from 45. In he skips. And he's missed another, so 9-17. No excuse for that one.
No, went where he aimed it, didn't he? So the Blues just leaving the door ajar at the moment for the Hawks, playing the better football. McAvoy, the big fly. Lewis from behind. Thumped it forward. Doherty tries to knock it forward again for the Carlton Football Club. Picked up by Howe. The inclusion for Shields, who was out of the selected side, and Wiedering just picking them off.
It's been terrific. Jacob Wiedering, his best and fairest winner last year, continues on.
He's the 6th most effective intercept mark in the competition as Jacob Wiedering, and he's been doing it again today. Here's danger. Eddie Betts lurking, trying to come up with something. Over the line, out of bounds.
He does read the ball really well, Ed. So we know Jones and him, prepared to lay off and read the play, watch the football. Sometimes, especially Jones, he can get hurt, but Wiedering is fantastic. So it's something the Hawthorn forwards need to look at. His direct opponent at the moment is McAvoy.
So De Koning goes up, takes it out of the ruck. It was a shallow throw in. Blues need to get some value for money from these attacks inside 50 early in this second term. We've gone 3 minutes. It's lived in their forward line. No goal, though. So De Koning up against Reeves. Walsh at the fall of the ball. Gets underneath it. Couldn't get rid of it. Umpire having a good look. Says gone.
Good tackle. That's a perfectly executed tackle. There's nothing Walsh could have done about that. But you nearly think as a Hawthorn player coming out of your back up, because Wiedering's been so damaging, kick it not in his direction. Try and find another avenue forward because he's been so damaging.
Mitchell long. Chance for the fly. Some DeConing from 3 deep. Good strong grab. Gave to Sard. Hits a pretty good spot with the kick. Well, Cripps jumped this time. Few went up. Cripps stayed down. Decided to wait for the crumb. Howe bumped off it. Walsh, possession 14 to Curnow, to Doherty, to the goal square. Mackay had a sneaky chance. Silvani almost kicked that out on the full. In the end, it's out of play and they can set it up again, the Blues.
So they're the decisions you've got to make as a player. The last 4 times they've come to this wing, that's where the tools have set up. Spread the ground, try and take the ball to the open side, change it up a bit.
So this time Big Pitternet goes down and says, come on, we need to get a decisive hit here. He gets it, but it went straight down the throat of Hardwick, who slams it out of the defensive 50 up towards centre wing. McAvoy fighting for the ball there, the Hawthorn captain, big number 7, he is there. Ball hits the deck, picked up by Wiedering. Good football, great football by Jacob Wiedering. The bomb inside 50, it goes. Silvani flies, but getting across. A beautiful mark by young Ned Reeves in game number 1.
Good mark.
All 6'11" of him. Went right into the pack, 211 centimetres. Love that when you see a big man with courage and eyes for the ball.
And he put big size 21 into it as well and got plenty of distance. Little roll to half forward. Howe at half-back, gave to Mitchell, kicks to Bruce. So the Hawks are out here. He finds the target inside. Nicely delivered. Hand off to Scrimshaw from Moore. Hanrahan. He's got Lewis out the back. And he hits him beautifully. Just weighted it over the top of the Carlton defence, and this will be against the grain a little.
Well, Jordan, let's get your namesake, because he did that beautifully. He crept down the ground while his teammates had the ball in the middle of the ground, and then presented at the moment when the player looked up and saw somebody. He was the man.
You're right, sheer work rate. He was here on the wing when Luke Bruce marks the ball. So Luke Bruce kicks the ball inside, which allows him time to actually get back forward and reset.
22-year-old in his 5th season, starting to make a statement. Career is starting to blossom now. And that was a massive goal. He slipped through against the run of play for the Hawks.
And it was a change in ball movement out of the back half. I know it was a quick kick by Tom Mitchell, but the kick fell short. So it wasn't to the key defender or the key forward, which have been in Carlton's favour. So Luke Bruce kicks the ball inside, so you can see Mitch Lewis there in the back of the screen. When that ball gets kicked laterally, it allows your forwards to get further down the ground and reset. And then there's a moment where you can try and get out the back of the defenders if there's a little bit more speed on the ball. Perfect play.
Great running from Lewis and a beautiful kick from Hanrahan, who saw him all the way, just running down.
Yeah, it was good play. And they changed angles. So for the first 5 minutes of this quarter, played very straight. Hawthorn just kept kicking it to the Carlton wall. You know, Jones and Wiedering just grabbing the ball and just bombing it back inside 50. So change the angles. Good work.
Goal the difference. Setterfield does well. Walsh swooping on the ball again. Mitchell's got him, holding on to him. Free kick.
He's a threat on the outside, Sammy Walsh. He just holds his balance really well. When it's time to be tough, he's in there.
Mitchell did it well. He knew if Walsh had picked it up,
he was gone.
He was gone. So a professional free kick as Walsh kicks along. The big flyers. A few good packs. It's like the old schoolyard for you, Brownie, out there. Jacking the pack, they call it these days, don't they? Yeah. The ball goes over the line out of bounds.
Boys, the phone on the bench is getting a severe workout at Hawthorn. Bruce currently on the phone. So you sense Alistair Clarkson is trying to rally the troops. They're right in this game.
With Damien Monkhurst holding the phone there.
They've come from 17 points down to be a goal down. And Walsh, another possession, to set it up to Williams, who's got plenty on that and drives it all the way home for his first goal as a Blue.
Well, the goal umpire didn't move, did he, Brownie?
It was great.
As soon as it hit Reeves' boot, it looked flush. So this is a boundary throw-in, so you should have your forwards up to the back of the stoppage. You can just see there, I think it was Cousins, just got caught ball watching. And what all good halfbacks do, they understand where the dangerous space is. So you keep yourself, you own the greater space, so when your opponent gets caught ball watching, you're off.
Absolutely. This is the value you can bring to the team, Zach Williams. So he's been recruited as a midfielder. He's not fit enough to be an AFL midfielder at the moment, certainly not for a whole season. So they've sent him back, get him through the year. He played better last week, 87% against the Demons. Doherty's gone up into a wing. So they would hope that he can get fitter so he can play at the level, the midfield, certainly the fitness level, that allows him to play midfield for the majority of the year.
Sam Walsh 8 handball, was the one that set it up. He's 16 disposals at the moment. And the umpire's having a good look here and wants to give a free, and he does.
And I suppose the other thing with Williams, you can find more space off halfback. If you're a genuine midfielder, it's very hard to find space around the modern game these days.
He'd be looking where Walsh is going and just get in front of him for the handball at the moment. He's doing everything right. Inside 50, O'Meara's kick was a penetrating one. There's Walsh again, flicks it over the top. Doherty's handball intercepted. Morrison swung around. Good handball from Scrimshaw again. McAvoy goes short with a kick. Was a good one. They got in each other's way in the end. Again, Scrimshaw tries to shovel it out. But now it is Carlton. Curnow needs to just get enough on the ball for it to bounce through. It didn't. Beautifully read by Frost, who saw it and attacked. Scrimshaw out wide. Wingard, little dance from 48. He loves these, and he puts it right through the middle. Just had enough on it. All right. Well, the goal umpire reckons it was a point.
Umpire's callers are behind. Just confirm it was touched or not.
Review underway.
So certainly it was a touch. Now we've got to see if it was over the line. And the answer is no.
Looking at these angles, we can see the ball is touched before crossing the back of the goal line. Decision on the scoreboard.
It was like it was a half kick from Wingard too. It was like he was indecisive. He probably could have hit a couple of options going inside forward 50. Maybe that created a little bit of doubt.
It was a good call by the umpire.
Yeah, it was a great call.
In the right spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Just starting to get some forward half territory, Hawthorn, the last few minutes, and Sam Frost been influential.
Williams, so he took it on and he found his target, Fogarty, even if that wasn't initially his intended target. Out wide to Doherty.
Well, they're on here.
He holds it up. He could have gone, had a couple of options. Curnow the short. Curnow normally likes that 25, 30-metre kick. Just floats it wide and didn't really put it to anyone's advantage, although Mackay nearly stole it from behind and fumbles it out of play and gets told about it by Hardigan.
It's been a little bit fumbly, Mackay. Only had the one disposal today, so a slow start, but we know he can finish games strongly.
De Koning and McAvoy. McAvoy with the experience, De Koning with the sprightly youth, got to the front, got a big palm on it. On the deck, Cripps was there, pushing it back. So it's coming back. It's got to be a Hawthorn free to Warple.
So this is a clear example of what we saw in the first part of this quarter. So now you get a chance to move the ball. Do you realise the trend of the game where it's been going long down the line? You can see them setting up for the switch. Doesn't look like he's going to use it.
So Warple goes with a 9-iron straight down the line.
Same result.
Straight back it comes. So Wiedering kicks up. Silvani tries to slap it over his head. It was good football. Good pressure from Frost, but Silvani kept his feet. Intercepted in the end by Warple. Gets the handball going. Greaves' handball for the Hawks to Frost, who has a bounce and he's gone. Just got a knuckle on it. No, says the umpire. Umpire said you had enough chance.
Good chase.
Love it.
Good stuff, Umpy. So Newman was trying to get a 50 there.
Great chase down.
So, yeah, it's a free. So Jones bombs it long, looking for Harry. Mackay goes up, can't take the mark. Silvani at the fall of the ball. Could have been the 1970 grand final, that. All we need is Jezza to take a mark. Mackay and Silvani. Up it goes towards Jones, off the hands of the pack. Good play by Lewis, who put himself into the play. Had a real go at it. Walsh again. Umpire bounces.
There's been a lot of play out on this wing that's closest to the commentary side. Hawthorn just keep bombing it to the same spot every time and just allowing Carlton defenders to set up and influence that high ball. They need to change their method at the moment, Hawthorn.
But what it also does, Brownie, it lets you conserve energy. If you're not defending the whole ground and you're only defending a certain portion of it, it's not taxing on the body.
Straight down to O'Meara, scrambles it through some bodies, and Williams having a brilliant game. Gave it to Stocker. He wobbles one to half forward. Jarth down there. He nodded to his own advantage, and then Scrimshaw kind of got in his way. Jarth wanted to pick that and go. Good wraparound tackle. Holds it in the area. Ball up.
Yeah, he might have been off then if Jarth have gathered that ball. There's been a few things where Hawthorn players have ran into each other. There was a contest in the forward 50 before.
What's happened to the Shepherd?
Carlton.
I haven't heard of the Shepherd for a few years.
Walsh allowed to go. Heads toward goal with possession 18. Well, they've been able to stop the sheriff, but they can't stop the deputy.
He might break that man Tom Mitchell's record today, the way he's going, the all-time AFL record of 53 disposals. So Sammy Walsh has had 18 disposals so far. 9 of those contested. He's kicked the goal now. He's had 5 score involvements. So clearly best on ground. Look at that. They sort of stopped the Hawthorn players. Sammy was just waiting for it, and away he went.
It's great vision because he forced his opponent inside the stoppage. So you go, OK, if my opponent's going to get the ball, he's in traffic, I'll hold the outside. So a lot of his possessions today have been holding on the outside of the stoppage. So if he gets the ball, he's got time and space to run into.
92 ranking points. Have a look at that. He's 37 clear of the next player. He's out in front. He's twice as good as anyone on the ground, and he certainly is.
Be a good super coach performer today, Ed.
One thing getting a kick, but doing with it, as he does, as the ball goes in, picked up there by Fogarty. Silvani trying to get the handball to Eddie Betts, working closely in his pocket. Over the line it goes for a throw in. So Carlton have now starting to put the boot down in this game. They can smell blood. It's 17 points. They've probably had by far the ascendancy in this game. Hawthorn have been hanging on.
Double inside 50s, Ed. 29-14 in Carlton's favour.
De Koning goes for the ball. Jath does it well. Intercepted, then got his own ball. Didn't have a teammate getting away on that occasion, so probably thought, well, here's my chance. Now Hawthorn tried to work it up. Howe takes it to centre wing. Left foot up the line. Over the line it goes. Advanced. No, stays in. Now it does. We'll have a throw in. So good play by Bruce to attack the ball nicely. We'll have a throw in at half-forward flank for the Hawks.
Great crowd in, sunshiny afternoon at the home of footy, the MCG, and it's the equal biggest margin of the game, 17 points. Little floater in the Bruce direction. Hanrahan to Cousins, run down from behind. And he got the kick away towards Kazitsky, but he couldn't find him.
It's great to get a kick away there. It looked like the tackle had been executed perfectly. But that too looks dangerous. I think their smaller type of players look dangerous. The Carlton defenders, the tall ones, are having an impact.
No Hawthorn ruckman nominated, so no one went at it in the end. Holding the ball, Cousins wrapped up again, this time by Owies. And the Blues, the sunshine in the eyes of Silvani. Got their mojo up and running right now.
So not much to kick to at the moment. So Jack Silvani holds the ball.
Harry's looking for a touch on the other side of the ground. He's got to get over.
It might come to him now. The switch is on. Sard is out wide. Jones instead has to pick it up. So the effectiveness of the switch has sort of diminished a bit with the ball being held up. But in the end, it was Doherty's brilliance. He got it to Sard. And now Eddie Betts is 55 out. Look at that. Lace out. Thank you very much. Eddie Betts' brilliance. And the mark's been taken by Owies, who kicked the goal in the first term.
So I think that's what we're talking about. If you compare the two sides at the moment, Silvani had an opportunity. Did he want to go down the line to where there was congestion, or did you want to switch the ball and bring it to the open side? And it wasn't perfect, but you open up options for yourself.
And Jones didn't panic. He took his time, though. Just had enough and got it up the line.
I always get nervous when key defenders swing on their left foot, Ed. He got away with it.
Well, mark that one down to Sam Doherty for brilliance taking the mark. Now, Owies comes in to have the shot from 30 metres out, directly in front. They like it. The Blues cheer squad goes up, and that is now 3 in a row this term for the Carlton Football Club.
I'm not sure if that was a deliberate strategy, but Harry Mackay ended up 100 metres on the other side of the ground, and the ball actually switched that way. But what happened, you see Harry up in the distance there. What ended up happening was Hawthorn had no reference point. Normally the Hawthorn defenders would go for Mackay and know where to block up. They didn't realise where it was going, so it did open up nice. It was a beautiful kick by Betts. Hit up Owies, who's been fantastic today, Owies. He's been able to hit the scoreboard. He's had plenty of score involvement, so he's been a good inclusion the last few weeks, Louis.
He has a good mark by Doherty, a good genuine one-on-one with Phillips. and then to have the foresight and the realisation that Saad's running past, so you give it straight away, and then the defence panics. Then you don't really know where to go, whether you come forward or whether you suck back, because it's such a dangerous position.
What position you reckon he played in college basketball over there?
Yeah, played at Hawaii, played at Seattle.
He played centre, did he, Dwayne?
Now he's playing at the MCG. Good mark taken by Scrimshaw in defence. Yeah, Category B rookie. Really good selection by the Blues. Mitchell. Hawthorn need a hero in a hurry here to turn things around. More looks up, thought about playing on quickly. He's got Bruce leading to the pocket. He's got some space. Top of the square, and Wingard crunched in the marking contest. The umpire said Murphy coming the other way was also trying to mark, so play on. McAvoy hands free, caught. Comes up to Murphy. Now Curnow. He tried to wrestle. Ball up.
Boys, have the Oscars happened yet, Eddie? Just have a look at this one. Oh. Jeez, he certainly gets nominated.
Tossed in the air. Good spot for a ball up here for the Hawks. McAvoy reaches in. Hammer hand, little toe into some space. Bruce played for the free kick, didn't get it. Cockrell played for the share and did get it. Heads out wide to DeConing. Nice collect. Blasts it towards the wing, and Impey gets back. Takes a saving grab.
Yeah, nice touch. One grab. Ball floating in. Impey does it nicely. Comes out to Jath. CJ goes with the handball to Frost. Over the top to Impey. This is good football. Now they present. McAvoy came out. The kick was as if he was kicking a pillow. Just floated in, going about 5 different directions, and a free kick to CJ as Pitnet just went a little bit untidily into that contest.
So you're right, it's better off half-back. It generates some run and carry off half-back and invigorates the forward line. You can see Frost and CJ and Impey are involved. They look much more dangerous.
Well, as Mike Williamson said once, he'll have to kick this 80 metres. Have to be Malcolm Blight from here just about.
Stay alert if you're a defender.
He might want to have a go, because if he gets it, his first in footy, he takes his full measure and he gives it a thumping kick, just touched on the line. So that's twice the Hawks have gone in this quarter and touched on the goal line.
If you want to kick from that far out, Ed, you've got to be confident you clear the fence. Coaches hate when it just reaches the line.
Clarko a little restless in his seat at the moment.
Yep.
Phillips, big turnover, hooks it to the goal line, off hands, Kozetzky, he got a toe on it, and it was touched on the way through.
That's 3 touched within a metre of the goal line this quarter.
Quick play on to Setterfield. The Blues want to go here. They've got Hawthorn on the ropes. Nicely delivered to Stocker. Back pocket, cautious. Heads out wide towards the Cripps one-on-one. Got a bad one-on-one to go to. Cripps keeps it alive nicely to Murphy. Little fumble, now he's got it. Cousins has him. Newman kicks it off the deck, and it lands in the arms of Mackay.
Big Harry goes long to no one in particular.
It's some ordinary kicking from both teams.
Moore to CJ. The handball's over the top of Phillips's head. Phillips goes hard as he always does. Dives on top of it. And then bottom line is he held it up enough. Sarah?
Sam Walsh back onto the ground. He was trying to get on for ages, 7.5 minutes. He's had a nice rest, so boy, will he be fresh now.
Saad. Ball didn't come up to him, but he ended up hoiking it to full forward. To Koning at the back of the pack. Got 2 hands to it. Hardigan under pressure. Besiege the Hawks' defence at the moment, but they do well enough as Greaves gets the ball out of the defensive 50, but it's coming back.
Pitternet. You expect he won't kick it all the way to the goal line. He pulls it nicely. Top of the 50 to Koning. Got some airtime.
I'm loving them going for the marks today. It's great. Yeah. Someone's going to pull in a screamer here in a minute.
We saw it last night too. In the first quarter, Joey Danaher flying for him, Hipwood flying for him.
Charlie Cameron had one.
Back into play. Pitnet. Reeves. Mitchell shut down. Walsh, another possession. Fresh, back on. Gave it up. Murphy, little toe poke to the pocket. DeConing and Betts not on the same page. Eddie has a word to him. You know their mind.
Who has right away there?
Get out of the way. It's Eddie Betts running towards the goals. Good stuff. Pinnet trying to get the tap. Reeves did pretty well, and O'Meara just bursts through, gets it up to half or to the wing position. This is where it keeps coming back, because this bloke Wiedering is having a great day out as well. Umpire called play on. Hawks using the ball nicely. Moore's kick inside 50. Good mark. That was better play.
They've got to be careful here. Jones and Wiedering caught upfield with their men back behind them, Lewis and Kazitsky.
And Kazitsky kicks to the top of the square because he knows McAvoy is there. Can he get in position? No. Mitchell, perfect driving. Grab from behind. Great tackle. Ball stays up. Comes out to Luke Bruce. Around the body he goes and kicks the goal. And the Carlton fans are going nuts. They're saying, what about the ball? Oh, his tackle's a ripper.
Yeah, well done there, Hawthorn. Worked the way through. Just in the build-up here again, there's been criticisms of Carlton's defenders during the year, Louis, where sometimes, especially Liam Jones, sometimes Wiedering, they get caught ball watching. They get caught up the field and their men sneak out the back. Kazitsky was able to get the mark that time, and then they're off to the races. Good finish there by Bruce.
What do you reckon on the tackle?
It was great reflexes by Mitchell, I think.
Got it out, I reckon.
Yeah, well, the ball came out initially, and then Mitchell grabbed it on its way down, then was able to execute a handball. So play on for me, but Luke Bruce doesn't miss those goals.
Yeah, good umpiring.
He's a gun, Luke Bruce. Once kicked 29 goals in a row without a point. Tony Lockett was 70% career. Luke Bruce, 69% career. From the ball up to Koning. Outread the lot of them. Kicks to half forward. Juff on hands and knees. Just got a hand to it. High tackle. Hardigan to take it. Huge 3.5 minutes here. Hawthorn with some confidence back after that goal, and they peel to the open side. Greaves going to have to go and get it though. Back into the lineup this week. Had to wait. He's corralled by Pitternet. Heads toward the wing. Out. Got there. And it opens up for him. Heads to Cousins out in front of Walsh. Forced Walsh to do some defending. He's got Kazitsky inside 50 and Lewis inside 50. And he puts it up there for the big grab. Kazitsky goes from forward. No, he couldn't even go for it in the end. Sard held his line, stood in the hole and got the protection.
It just had to be more composed. Sometimes you need to chip it around outside forward 50 to draw players like Sard out of your forward 50.
So Cripps just holds the ball up. Sard goes wide with the kick, opens up the whole field here. Mackay is down the ground waiting for this ball to come in. Next kick maybe Curnow.
Hardigan got him there. He's done a good job today, Hardigan, on Mackay. He's been able to hold him to 2 disposals. Hasn't hit the scoreboard.
Showed too much of it on that occasion. Curnow, and Phillips was quick off the mark, read the ball beautifully. Now he gets a meterage with his left foot up towards the centre-half forward position, off hands. Wingard twisting and turning. Back to Phillips. Phillips' little chip kick is a good one. And Mitchell. So some of the big names at Hawthorn coming together now. So it's Warple, my apologies. He's a good name too. Kick to the top of the square. The big men fly off hands. Oh, beautiful play. Bruce got his second in a row. Front and square, perfect football. Luke Bruce brings Hawthorn back into the game.
It was a good kick. The kick inside forward 50. Walkwood didn't sky it, so he just took a little bit off it and punched it a little bit, which didn't allow the Carlton defenders to regroup and reassess where the drop of the ball was. So as this kick comes in, you can see the movement of the forwards engaging the defender. So Wiedering's engaged, Jones is engaged, and then Luke Bruce just reads it so well. You can see Zach Williams puts his head down after that. You've got to have touch and feel on Luke Bruce inside the forward 50. He's just too good of a player.
Yeah, good crumb. It's really hurting Carlton this quarter. So the ground balls, Hawthorn a +7. They've been able to work their way back into the contest, and they're within 9 points. Well, really, Carlton have dominated a lot of numbers of the ground.
Yeah, and the Hawks have got 11 scoring shots to 10. And they've hit the post twice. And had three touched within a metre of the goal line, 2 on the line and 2 posters.
Cripps tries to stop the rot by handing it to Curnow. His handball didn't find a target. Walsh on hands and knees, but it eluded him. O'Meara. Phillips, who's had a big role to play. High contact, so it'll come back. 90 seconds left. They had the last 4 scoring shots of the game. Hawthorn, they've kicked the last 2 goals of the game. Scrimshaw, delightful pass to Greaves. Long towards Lewis. 2 against him. Ball hits the deck. Wingard put his head down, handed it toward Morrison. Saad, the boundary was his friend, and he got it there and disguised it well enough.
Off his foot, I think.
He's got him the full. Or is it off Hawthorn?
I think they said off Hawthorn, maybe Carlton free kick.
So they're having a little argument here. Saad thinks it's his. Okay, they've sorted that out.
We'll have a look at that in a second.
Got everyone convinced.
So Saad on the left boot. So look at this in the box. You can see what happened. And, yeah, beautiful call from the boundary umpire. The umpire's been great today. A couple of 50-50s always in the game, depending who you're following. But by and large, and that was as good a boundary umpiring decision as you'll see, that one. Well played. Throw in, so Big Reeves does well against Pitternet on that occasion. Curnow slaps it out. Cripps needs to crash through, and Dars just did enough. Body, no stat for that, but it made the difference. Silvani now has a bounce. Not much up forward, has a second bounce. He's waiting and waiting. Waiting for Big Harry. Harry! Oh, he got hands to the ball. Eddie Betts! Eddie Betts! You beauty! What a star! Read that one from 50 metres out, didn't he, Jordan Lewis? Because Big Harry had the sit. It was only going to go one place, one of 2 places, into his hands or front and square, and Eddie Betts swooped on it.
I think if you're a young kid sitting at home, or even an older kid sitting at home, if you're a small forward, watch the way that Eddie Betts plays, watch the way that Luke Bruce plays, because their last 2 goals have come from just small forward craft. They're probably 2 of the best small forwards that we'll ever see in our game. And that was just fantastic. Read the play really well. Good kick by Silvani coming in, just to give it a bit more air to allow the Carlton players to get inside forward 50 and get to the drop of the ball.
He's top 21 in the AFL history for games played now, Eddie. He's got the most goal assists of any player in the history of the AFL. And he keeps kicking goals himself as well. And he got goal-sided Greaves there, and it was game over.
Good point you made, though, Louis. Silvani didn't panic. Bounced, didn't do anything silly.
No, just delayed it a little bit to allow the Carlton players to get inside 50. Gee, that's a
Warple,
big collision.
Cripps collided. A scramble inside 50. Chance for a late one for the Hawks. Morrison bends it. Instant reply. Oh. Morrison with 2 goals, 18 seconds left, and it's back to a 9-point margin.
Well, it's the small forwards, isn't it? The key position players aren't having big days. They've been into contests a lot of the time. As we see, there's a bit of a scuffle in the middle of the ground. There was a huge collision from the centre bounce between Warple and Cripps, but this is another inside 50, another small forward, just reading the play really well. What you ask as your forwards is a soft drop. So if you're Morrison in this occasion, you've got to predict that it's going to be a soft drop. Really good finish under pressure.
Well, you got to love it when the big boys go for their marks and then the crumbing forwards get underneath it. So Kevin Bartlett would be rubbing his hands today, wouldn't he? KB. Was there anyone ever any better at finding a goal off the packs than the great Kevin Bartlett in 403 games of footy with the Richmond Football Club? They go, oh, good play, O'Meara. One push one way, left hand the other, they don't argue, and with 10 seconds left, Wingard slaps it in, hopes for the best. 6 seconds, still a chance. Wingard lurking. O'Meara, 2 seconds. Won't be enough as Howe kicks in. No. And it'll bounce through for a goal. It's a goal! I think it's a goal! Howe's kicked the most unlikely goal you'll ever see. Look at the Hawthorn fans behind the goals going nuts. Something from nothing. Clarko's going, you beauty. The best spin since Shane Warne was on the MCG. Let's have a look at this. Howe picks it up. Kicks it from 52 metres. Gets through, bounce, 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 goal! And Clarko has a good look here. Have a look at this. How about that?
They've been very efficient, Hawthorn, so well done to them. It's only 24 inside 50s for 13 shots, which has been magnificent. Carlton's had 35 inside 50s for only 11 shots, but it was really Hawthorn's pressure in that second quarter ramped up. Look at that, Harry Mackay. So we spoke about him, the star of the comp, leading the Carlton medal, only 2 disposals. So Cole Hartigan done a fantastic job to date.
He's by clearly the #1 player for scores in the third quarter in the AFL. So don't count him out, Brownie.
No, he does fight back. He competes hard and stays in the game.
3 points to difference as we go into this third term of football. Pitternet goes in. Reeves sticks his big boot into it as well. Just gets it outside the circle. Murphy grabbed high up. I said no. Murphy goes a second time. Good second, third effort. Cripps bounces off. Pitternet gets the handball going. Doherty now at half forward for Carlton. Inside 50 towards Silvani. He did very, very well to get a hand on the ball there and knock it over the line and have a stop play inside 50 for the Carlton side.
Just leading patterns inside your forward 50, so it was probably Mackay that could have had the leading lane straight towards Doherty, and Silvani came across. Just a little bit more of communication in the forward line.
You shouldn't lead sideways inside 50. It's too easy for defenders to cut that ball off.
Back into play, Reeves. Second attempt at it, got a little roller. Got it to the Warpedo. Heads toward the wing. McAvoy down there, knocked away. Cousins about to pounce. Takes on Walsh. Got it inside to Mitchell. He floats it a little. Jones back with the flight. Saving grab in the bright sunshine here at the G. Inside kick. Delightful to Pitternet. He hands it off. Now Sard has got the overlap runner if he wants him, Williams. He's got a paddock. He can have a couple of bounces. No one comes at him. A second, a third bounce. Still gives a fourth a thought. Now he drives it long. Mackay gets up there. Hasn't had a big afternoon just yet. Silvani, boundary line. Ball in, forward pocket for the Blues.
They can do a better job with their build-up, Carlton. So 36 inside 50s now. De Koning was on his own inside 50 there. Williams should have hit that. So that money kick has been a real problem for Carlton. That's why their efficiency is down.
Yeah, and there's a lead up from Gibbons that was ignored as well. So a couple of options. In the meantime, Hawthorn clear it outside 50. Off hands. Murphy's been busy in this term so far. Needed to get into the game and has. Impey, little underground handball to Warple. 2 don't argue if you don't mind. Beautiful play. The Hawks crowd go up on it, but the kick had a little bit too much on, and the mark has been taken there by Nick Newman. Middle of the ground now. The build-up is all important for Carlton as Sard receives from Setterfield. Up towards Harry! Up he goes from behind De Koning, rather. De Koning around the body. Eddie Betts chests it over the line. We'll have a throw in.
We probably had to hand pass it, but the difference between that play and the play before for Carlton is once they were in the corridor, they stayed in the corridor. That provides a really big threat going forward.
Reeves, Pitternet, Cripps. Bounce eluded him. Jaff over his head to Reeves. To Warple. Spear pass good to Lewis. He comes down to half back to lend a hand.
Yeah, good kick. It just relieves the pressure.
You've just joined us. The Blues' biggest lead was 23 points. Hawthorn has not led in this game this afternoon. Kazitski goes with the fist. Thumps it toward the boundary. Moore. Good hassle. Tried to back out with it, but
that's a good result for Hawthorn there. So both Hawthorn forwards wanted to spoil the ball. That's better than a Carlton intercept mark or Carlton getting the ball back, which happened a lot in that early in that second quarter.
Heard the umpires. Mitchell tried to clear the ball out. Warple now. Impey back to Mitchell. Good play. Got an ordinary bounce, but recovered nicely. Good hands. Warple now can bomb it in. Inside 50, it goes. From behind, good play. McAvoy did everything bar hold the ball, did it well. High tackle against Lewis. And a free kick will go to Zach Williams. So Williams has been in the wars a bit today. Went off, had to get his knee bandaged, caught one a bit high there. Kicks took a little bit off the ball. Beautiful mark. Doherty's been great, and away he goes. Just put 20 metres on everybody. Kicks inside 50, sits it up. CJ over the top of Silvani.
Bit of rush of blood. He probably could have used Eddie Betts, and Eddie Betts could have ran another 20, 30 metres.
The forward half kicking has been horrible at times today. Carlton, especially.
Yeah.
So the forwards would be really scratching their head.
So Silvani playing a tagging role, if you like, on Jaith there, so he didn't run past for the handball. And Hawthorn now bring it to the members' side, and away they go.
So Phillips to the creative Wingard. Sees the short option. Delightful pass as well. Moore held that long enough. And now he's about to blast it to the top of the 50. Keeps it low. Bruce can't mark it. Walsh has had his own share and goes to his partner in Cripps. Couldn't get away with it. Wingard flicked it over his head. Now Warple. He has a chance. And he misses. That was for the lead for the first time this afternoon.
That's where they look dangerous, though, Dwayne, when they bring the ball to the open side, make better decisions.
And suddenly you can just feel a bit of tension around the Carlton folk at the moment. Silvani doing well, gets the ball out wide, and the mark has been taken by Gibbons. Silvani pushed off his opponent, runs, makes space.
He's on his own, Silvani, still up. Maybe you couldn't see him.
Looking into the sun, now he goes long and strong, looking for De Koning, but it's all Hawthorn.
That's why he didn't kick it there straight away, because Hawthorn had 3 spare defenders further down the field.
Hardwick just picked it like an apple off the tree. It was beautiful stuff, and Hardikin's got the ball, and that needed to be centimetre perfect. Thank you, Dennis, and it was, and the mark's been taken by Jarman Impey.
So down the spine, he wants to travel.
Greaves in the middle.
Warple thought about the quick-fire handoff. Thought better of it. He's toward half-forward, and Lewis having an impact now. And was crunched in the marking process. And he's getting up slowly. Kicked forward the last 5 goals of the game, Hawthorn. Lewis about to send it to where he'd like to be. Kazitsky's down there. It's in his direction. McAvoy's there as well. McAvoy got one hand on it. Couldn't bring the mark down. Walsh outside of the boot. Lewis stands under it. A couple to beat. Knocks it to the front. Warple pounces and runs away from them and chips it. Moore from the 50.
Nice,
let's calm it down, boys. I've got this covered.
Yeah, nice composure by Warple. He's just got that fend off. It's really hard to tackle. But then to do that and then to be able to remain composed and find an option, he might not have the distance here. You can see the Hawthorn boys all lining up around him.
Fairly accurate kick. 10 goals, 5 for the season. Takes a couple of deep breaths. His heart rate down. Gets an extra metre or 2 and bombs it through. And the Hawks in front for the first time today.
Walker's had a good start to the quarter.
Yeah.
Didn't have a prolific first half, but he's fought back hard here. It's really been the catalyst for some of their ball movement. Good effort there, great push-off.
These players are doing this well, aren't they? When they realise they can get an extra 2 or 3 metres from playing on a little bit, taking a little bit of an angle when you're having a set shot, and you can make the distance. But you're right, Warple's court has been huge. He's probably the one midfielder from Hawthorn that takes the ball forward, that really gets from an inside contested situation to the outside using his speed and explosiveness.
Good point you make there, Louis. In the old days, players would hook the ball trying to find that extra distance. Now they actually have to run out and naturally hook the ball, almost the Buddy Franklin arc, if you like, and getting that extra distance. And that was a big goal, and the Hawks hit the front for the first time at the MCG this afternoon. And they are going well. 5 of the last 6 goals go to Hawthorn, and it's Mitchell who gets it forward. Morrison waits and waits, but it doesn't come to him. Walsh running at the ball. Cripps coming the other way. Grabbed, umpire lets it go. High tackle, free kick, Murphy, who's been busy, as I've mentioned a few times this term. Kick into the centre of the ground. De Koning. Good handball, got it going. Curnow looks up. Decides to bomb it in long. Eddie Betts is under the pack here. They all wait. It goes over the head of Gibbons as well. Awkward bounce. It comes out the back to Pitternet. Pitternet's kick at the goal. He's put it through. Carlton back in front. Great dexterity from the big man. The little blokes couldn't get it. They had to leave it to the tallest bloke in the team to kick the goal.
And Hardigan couldn't believe it. He was in a really good position. He came forward, but as our ball does, Brownie, it bounces in all funny directions. And Pitnet couldn't believe his luck when the ball came out. So here's the kick inside. De Koning played on really quickly. Smart decision. Then you probably had to keep Curnow to his left foot. But here you can see Hardigan comes out, makes a really good decision.
Oh, jeez.
And the ball just bounces straight past him, and Pitnet couldn't believe his luck. But to their credit, Hawthorn defenders went over to Hardigan and said, hey, we love the way that you play. We love that you're in front. Keep doing it.
It's his only blemish for the day, Hardigan. It wasn't his fault. He's had one of the best two-possession games you've ever see, holding Harry Mackay to 2 himself and no goals.
We got one of the luckiest bounces of the year just before half-time, Hawthorn. That's certainly unlucky. Ball knocked down towards Mitchell. Caught by Walsh. Back to McAvoy. Tried the hand off and another ugly bounce. Murphy comes up with it. Heads wide and Pitnet again. The game changer.
Yeah,
Much to the relief of the Blues fans. They've seen this movie before. Carlton conceding a run of goals to an opposition team.
I don't know if a broken record, but Mark Murphy's quarter has been sensational.
And he hands it off this time. Long load up from just outside the arc, but it's only a behind from Stocker.
Gave up about 15 metres there, Pitnet, going back to Stocker. A little bit of a change up. Mackay's gone to the bench, so that's why Pitnet's on the in the full forward line.
So, ripping game of football. Saturday afternoon at the MCG. As we said in the opening, where would you rather be? Nowhere is the answer. So the ball hits the deck. Gibbons with the handball back to Sard. Has to go on the right boot around the body. And Curnow does well. Wanted the boundary line, got it, and O'Meara made sure it got there.
Boys, Plowman is in the rooms for the second time today. He hobbled off in a fairly ginger fashion a short time ago.
And I think Zach Williams is pretty sore as well. He's hobbling around. He just asked to come to the bench, but they said, no, we've already got an injury. Got to stay out there.
De Koning did well in the end. The fickle bounce beat Gibbons. Phillips for Hawthorn, up towards the centre wing position. Out comes Jones. Crunch, hits Morrison. Morrison with absolute courage. Just got a fist on the ball. It hits the ground. Scrimshaw gets the handball, and that's in the back all day. Umpire missed that one. Rode him into the ground. Mick Dittman would be proud of that, right?
Dittman, the enforcer.
Yeah. Crack with a shillelagh as well. De Koning. Off the ground, Morrison. Good pick up, great turn. The handball forward was good. It finishes up with Mitchell. The Brownlow medalist kicks inside 50. Wingard did everything, attacking the ball there. The bounce won't go over the head of Wiedering from Hanrahan, and as a result, Carlton's got it, but nowhere to go.
He didn't have a lot open side. He had one-on-ones. That's all he had. Little toe off the deck will work. Impey will get it back from Howe and chips it to Moore. Back to Impey. Little sidestep on Owies. Owies didn't bite. Morrison up against the boundary, just the required 15, and that's it.
And struggling looking into the sun there. The last bit of the ground with the sunshine coming over the city end stands.
Does he top of the square or have a crack here? He looks like he might have the distance covered in his own mind. Couple of skip steps from 51. Heads top of the square. Wiedering got there. Kazitsky got there late. Reeves tried to claim the mark. Hanrahan grabbed the Sherrin from the congestion. Murphy tried to flick it out. Ball came to Kazitsky. Bends it around, but not enough. Only behind.
They're pressuring. Repeat inside 50. Set up really well behind the ball. Carlton finding it difficult to get outside their defensive 50.
And now
Wiedering. Walsh, yeah.
Wiedering limping there, Louis.
Wiedering limping. Walsh is holding his head.
And Williams, who's got a sore knee, kicking the ball out. With Plowman in the rooms. So Williams goes long and strong up to the middle of the ground. De Koning shoved his man under it. Was a little bit obvious. And as a result of that, Big Ned Reeves gets the ball. He handballs over to his teammate in Hardwick, long to the goal square, but that's going to be easily picked off by Wiedering on one leg and gets tripped over by his teammate for good measure.
They're all going down, Carlton players. Not a great kick there by Hardwick.
There's the old Three Stooges move, that one. Bend down, push him back. Silvani almost the mark, over the line, out of bounds. Throw in centre wing with 2 points the difference, 9:53 on the clock, and a ripping game of footy at the MCG.
Everybody takes a breath halfway through this third term. Back into play. De Koning works his way to the front, but it's a short throw in. Beat them both. Scrimshaw breaks free. Handball just out of the reach of Warple. And the ruckman can do it again.
Getting on top around the footy, Hawthorn. At the moment, they've worked their way back into the game. The Hawthorn midfielders, Louis.
They are. They're working together, so someone's taking responsibility for Walsh, who's been the dominant player, and that player's Cousins. But they're getting on the move a little bit more.
Warple didn't take possession, but got the kick away anyway. Hanrahan dives in, Moore dives in. Sard on hands and knees. Who's clear of the pack if it comes out? Scrimshaw got the kick away. Fogarty's clear of the pack. About to be shut down, but he got the handball to Williams, and there's space ahead, and he barrels it, and Frost, right spot, right time. #1 player in the AFL this season for one-on-one contest, one in defence. And he does it again, Frosty. Inside towards Scrimshaw. Looks up to see what he's got by hand. He gave it in the Greaves direction, but Doherty knew where he was going. Handball from him, not good either. Dispossessed. Ball towards Williams, stole it back again. Turnover City, hammers it wide towards the wing. Mackay again hassled out of it. Howe got there first. Handball back to Frost. Chips it straight into the waiting arms of Stocker.
It's a bit like the Three Stooges out there, isn't it, at the moment?
Oh, he does it so well, Frosty up half back, but when he takes off, you just don't know where it's going.
So Stocker bangs it long up the wing position. Mackay couldn't go for that ball. Is his shoulder as bad as it was?
He's been a bit off with his touch, yeah. His hands have been a bit... his hands are like concrete at the moment.
Can't get him up. Anyway, at the form of the ball, coming through hard there was Cousins. This next play is important. Free kick. Got a high one there. Led with his chin. Was a bit lucky, I thought, more, but he got the free kick.
We're starting to see some fatigue coming to the game now. Hasn't been a lot of stoppages in this quarter. So the energy levels of the players will be tested here.
To the top of the square again. They need a big mark. The Hawks, they can't get one. Pittonet almost got one. Williams with a handball going. Setterfield's handball was wide. Silvani, CJ does it well.
Oh, he's had a huge quarter, Warple.
Yeah, just bumped off the ball. Nicely played, though. Picked up by Fogarty. Here's Big Harry. Needs the mark, this one. Got both hands to it. Couldn't quite take the mark. Fall of the ball. CJ swoops and takes it to the boundary line right in front of the interchange gates. Throw in.
Warple, 3 clearances, 10 disposals this quarter. It's been fantastic. Worked his way into the game nicely after a pretty quiet first half.
Got a spring in their step, the Hawks at the moment. He dropped that as he was tackled. Gone, Cripps. Hawks threatening to take the lead back again. Reeves to O'Meara. Some room to move. Heads long. Blues with the numbers back. And Williams saving mark. Called into it. And he goes central with the kick to Gibbons. He's got Walsh short. He goes longer and wider to Owies. Frost tries to shut him down. Owies plays on quickly. Walsh put the Jets on and got there, but he fumbled it. Howe shut him down. It was in the back-ish. Umpire said it was in the side. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Did he jump on it? Did he get in the back? Ball up. Good decision.
Some of their forward half kicking just really let them down as the ball's flowing. So that just has to hit Sam Walsh.
And then he fell on.
They even put the kick in front, so if the kick misses, at least he can run onto it.
Big play, this one. And over the line and out of bounds it goes. So let's have a deep breath and have an assessment of the situation. 9-4-58, 8-8-56.
So Hawthorn are winning the ball around the contest. 10 or 11 first possessions to 0 in Hawthorn's favour. It's the way they're going inside their forward 50 that needs to change a little bit, bombing the ball too much.
Pittonet does it well to Cripps, whose kick is smothered and ricochets the wrong way. Reeves off the ground was fantastic, and as a result of that, Brewster's kick 2 will line up for goal. Well done to big Ned Reeves.
Well, Punky, he just pops up. He popped up when they had a lot of inside 50s before, and then he just came to and just kicked 2 goals. So really good set shot
A magnificent set shot. Dwayne Russell saying before, at 79%. Was it Dwayne?
70.
He passed it.
Yeah. Oh, he played on! And gone! Can you believe that?
Let go. Let go. Back to the line. Back to the line. Back to the line.
Bring back good memories for you, Ed. There's a bit of Nick Rewald about that. He's sure chasing down.
Here we go, Nick.
Wow. You said it, not me. He still goes nuts every time I mention it.
Cottrell's got it on a half-back flank. The crowd are into it.
Let's have a look at that again. Oh, no, son.
Inside kick to Newman. A cautious ball used now by the Blues. Down the spine again. Stocker. Murphy. Fogarty. Mackay's long. He ignores that option and shoots it to Plowman. In game 100 as a Blue. He pulls the kick wide. Setterfield. Hawthorn zone getting back now. Numbers behind the ball. Waiting for this kick. Waiting for him to sit it up. And he does sit it up. Mackay's there. Pittonet's been the man. Just went up, climbed up, and Scrimshaw thumped that over the line and got away with it okay.
Probably a better build-up by Carlton. Here's the goal. Well, the goal that was missed by Kazitsky, and he's played on. It was a good call by the umpire. She'd like to have that one back again.
You never do, though. You never get them. And here's a chance now for the Hawks to get it out. Phillips just pulled the kick, did it well, rolled it out to his teammate. Bruce does well on hands and knees. Cousins lurking for the ball. Good play by Phillips again, almost got one high. Cottrell's kick is inside 50. Up they go. Mackay with one hand punches it to the ground, wanting somebody front and square. O'Meara was magnificent in heavy traffic to Mitchell, out to the outer side again, and Plowman. His band is up like a plough horse at the moment out there. Again, it's Murphy. Kicks out wide. Hawks have got the numbers here if they can get it clear. Good play by Scrimshaw. Got it to the ground. Morrison then shepherded. They worked that out beautifully. Now it comes back to Mitchell. Mitchell concedes some ground. Hartigan back to CJ. Dancing to Hartigan to the boundary line. And they used up all their luck. One more and they would have been in trouble, you would have felt.
Yeah, the kick from Murphy just had too much hang time in it. Needed to be punched to get there quicker. Just allowed Hawthorn to zone off and impact in the air.
Been a brilliant battle. Hit on that front spot. Got there ahead of Reeves. Knocked it down towards Setterfield. Murphy looked up. A little too slick for Walsh. Shut down by Cousins. Flicks it back to Murphy. Hits a good spot with the kick. Gibbons! Great grab. Under the heat. Held his ground.
Great play, Walsh and Murphy, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was a good kick by Murphy. I mean, that is a risky kick when you bring it from the outside to the inside because it does open up the other side of the ground. Just caught CJ off. He thought the ball was probably going to stay skinny.
Wasn't even in the 22 last week. He was the sub, but he came on early and played a full game of footy. Held his spot in the team. And this kick, huge for momentum. That's his set shot history. This spot all grounds for an 8-point lead in the shadows of three-quarter time.
So I think you said it, Brownie, that the ball movement's become a little bit more measured from Carlton, a little bit safer, so they don't get scored out the back of. But that kick from Murphy was risk versus reward. So once you bring the ball from the outside back into the corridor, you give the opposition a chance to rebound if you don't get it right. But beautiful kick to Gibbons, caught CJ off. Lovely finish against the grain. Hawthorn had been pressing and pressing, inside 50 after inside 50. Carlton go down the other end and score.
Yeah, they're trying to move the ball too quick, Carlton. And they're number 18 in the competition for kicking efficiency. And that's been the problem, Louis, you just alluded to, that, you know, they rush the ball or they move it quickly, they turn the ball over and it goes back the other way. So that time, a measured approach, they build up some inside 50s, they lock the ball in their forward half. You know, and they might necessarily get it the first entry or the second entry, but third and fourth time they can hit the scoreboard.
You saw the stat there. They're going well in the scrimmages at the moment. The Carlton Football Club. Cripps got it out. Oh, and he mats! Up he goes! From 55, Betts to the goal line. Up they go, front square, free kick. Free kick to Carlton.
Yeah, that was there too, Ed. Hartigan took his eye off the ball, just took Mackay out of the play. It was either going to be a mark or a block.
Well, that was spectacular from Eddie Betts. What a mark. Mackay comes in and kicks his first. Third in a row for the Blues, and suddenly they grab this game by the throat.
They've seen this before too. Mackay works his way back in the second half of games. That's what I love about him. He does compete, even though that was a free kick. He keeps competing no matter how poorly he's playing. This is the Betts mark. How good to see. We've spoken about him today. He's moved well the last few weeks. He's got his confidence back in his body, moves the ball quickly. Let's just watch Hartigan. He gets caught out.
It's clever here by Mackay, though, isn't it? Clever that he realised that Hartigan was caught in an uncompromised position, so he's going to make contact. His eyes went on the ball, and he's going to make contact, so you've just got to literally fall over in that instance, and the umpire will pay a free kick.
Well, CJ was a bit stiff. He had a fair bit of that ball in that marking contest, but Eddie Betts' momentum took him forward, and he had the last grab of it.
He's got his leap back, Eddie. He missed round one with the calf injury. Getting better with each passing game this year. Over to you, Hawthorn. What have you got left? Wingard. Got the handoff from Warple. Heads to half forward. Big fist of Sard. 2.5 minutes left in the term. Williams hammers it back towards the wing. Blues have kicked the last 3 goals of the game. Ball in on the wing. David Teague, Alistair Clarkson. 37 games coached David Teague for 16 wins. Clarko only 10 wins in his first 37. So a bit of heat on David Teague, but by that comparison, not going too bad. Mitchell gets it from Warple. Back towards half forward. Little flick down by Newman. Back towards Doherty, wrapped up by Cousins. Taken to the deck. And the ball up with 1:51 left in the third.
To see here too, so Cousins just working his way back onto Walsh.
It's a big minute 45 here. Mitchell out in the full. Or touched. Touch, says the umpire, so I'll have a throw in. Works well for the Hawks.
Yeah, just look at those two. So Walsh had a huge first quarter, 13 disposals, but Cousins has kept a close watching him since then, and he's done a pretty good job. Just come back onto the ground then. I feel as if that might be, I think that's his, pretty reasonable tag, following him around the ground.
So Pitternet gets a free hit at this. No one was there for Hawthorn in the ruck. He hit it, but Wingard knew where to stand. Good play indeed. Greaves inside 50 with the kick. Off hands. 1:25 and counting. The smother goes backwards for Carlton. And another throw in. So the Hawks in good shape here for another attack at the goal. This time, Big Reeves. Big Ned goes down against Pitternet.
I was about to say they wouldn't want to let it happen again, because Pitternet got about 30 metres outside the defensive 50 with that last one.
Stocker, grab, ball up. Minute 14.
Hawks got a goal after the siren at half-time. Can they steal one late here? Somehow Wingard needs the same bounce. Didn't quite get it. Flick through for a behind. What do the Blues do here? Sign the boundary saying 1 minute left, so they know how long left now. Jones pulls the kick short. Possession footy. Eddie Betts comes up from half forward to take the mark at half back and slow it down. To Koning, boundary line. Big fist comes from Hartigan, and he spanked it over the line and will get a ball in with 46 left.
They're playing it smart, Carlton. They're not going to take any risks within the last minute. Kick the last 3 goals, so just try and take the air out of it, get to 3/4 time with a handy lead.
Well, we're going after the bell in the last quarter, Hawthorn. They need to conjure something here. It's Carlton, though, and Doherty. Inside 50, maybe the Blues have got one last roll of the dice. Mackay puts up the one hand and takes the mark. Swings on to the left boot. The kick is on the outside of the boot, but it might come off. Sard over the top. Curnow tries to do the don't argue. High up in the air, front and square required. Comes back to Curnow, who hits it off the ground twice. Here's Mark Murphy. CJ grabs him, didn't have the ball. Free kick. Free kick. He was blindsided, CJ. And well played by Murphy, who summed up the situation, tapped the ball in front of himself and copped the free kick. So there's veteran, the former Carlton captain, lining up for goal. If he kicks this, it'll be his 196th career goal. And what a moment in the game. So Carlton get a chance to kick a goal after the siren. Murphy comes in. The roar of the crowd tells you the result. He kicks a big goal after an enormous individual effort in that third term by Mark Murphy. And Carlton, who led by 3 points at half-time, now go in leading by 19.
Hawthorn mids have challenged him. Yes, James Warple, Tommy Mitchell was fantastic there, so letting possession win it. So look at the head-to-head battle there. Mitchell worked his way into the game nicely with the help of Warple in that third quarter, but Carlton back into it.
Mark Murphy right into it. Here's Dwayne Russell with the last term.
19 points the margin. It comes down to this one last quarter of football for the Blues to try and hold on. But the Hawks, a couple of huge comebacks this season. Going to have to come from 23 down to win this one this afternoon. Good tackle by Walsh. Holds it up on the wing. Their 2 wins so far this year. Hawthorn came from 39 down against Essendon and from 32 down against the Crows. 19 points the margin now. Tossed in the air. Pitternet. Reeves in game 1. Wingard scrambles it forward to half forward. Ball flicked down almost more. Newman got there. Lift doors closed on him. And he's held up. Early momentum's going to be huge. Lights on here at the MCG. A beautiful afternoon at the home of footy. Great to have your company wherever you're watching on Fox Footy. Mitchell tries to flick it out. Doherty was waiting for it. Wobbles one towards De Koning. Read the bounce to perfection. Took on Frost but lost. Had to get a handball away. Scrimshaw quick to Greaves. Almost shut down by Betts. Fed inside. O'Meara gets it back in the 1-2 from Frost. Little poke to Mitchell is good. Told to go. Back to Scrimshaw. Bullet pass to Hanrahan. And it opens up for Hanrahan. Straight down the spine. Kaczynski owes him one. Got up there, couldn't mark it. About to crumb it. Tried to roll it away. Newman to Sard. Flick back from Sard. Bruce lurking in the middle of them. Pitternet reached down and got it. Long way down. Gets it back again. Got his arm free. Hanrahan stole it. Flicked it across the face of goal. And Cottrell content. Just that across the line.
Carlton's defence just looked vulnerable today when the balls hit the ground. The Hawthorn small forwards have been very good.
That last contest, you would have loved Kaczynski to stay out of it and let Bruce try and work over his own opponent, because he has been the most dangerous forward.
Great call from Dwayne Russell. A frenetic opening to this final term. Hit beautifully by McAvoy. He's done it again, Bruce! He's done it again! McAvoy was sensational. He got it! Wasn't sure if he was reaching for the post there for a second. All clear, and Luke Brewster's done it again.
It's those ground balls, Lou, we were just speaking about. So they've cleaned up Carlton in this area of the ground. They're plus 12 ground balls, so when the ball hits the ground, essentially, that's what we're talking about, especially in this part of the ground, the Hawthorn forward line. They've always had dangerous small forwards, we know that, but the Carlton defenders have just been caught lapsing at times.
So that stoppage there was pre-planned. You could see it. You could see Luke Bruce running the route, and you could see Ben McAvoy putting it into the space so he could run onto it. So clearly there was some connection there between Luke Bruce and McAvoy to say, hey, I'm going to hit this one long. You be there, and I'll try and get it there. Great connection.
So McAvoy doing the ruck work in the forward line and drifting up from the goal square up to sort of centre-half forward, if you like, about 40 metres out from goal. And it's Ned Reeves in the ruck against Pitternet. Reeves gets the tap. Wingard stretching, tries to slap it forward. Mitchell over the top, but it comes out to Walsh. Walsh bombs it forward. De Koning didn't go the fly from behind. He tried to rove it in the end. Good play by Silvani. Grabbed without the ball, I thought. Umpire said play on. They dive in on it. And Murphy wraps them up. We'll have a ball up just inside the centre square. 13-point ball game. Plenty of time in this match.
Big pack around it. Battle of strength. Mitchell v. Curnow. Umpire said, keep going, boys. Howe slips it out the back to Scrimshaw, who sees he's got hand-to-hand, really pushing hard out wide into space, and he hits him lace out. Hawthorn with some momentum back. Little fake. And now the long launch to McAvoy, front spot. Couldn't take the mark. Cousins the flick back in the Mitchell direction. McAvoy again, right spot, right time. Back to Hanrahan. Impey's got some space. Heads long. Heads out wide towards Lewis. Eddie Betts getting back in defence. Good contest. Got there. Knocked it to Doherty. Hands it to Curnow. Floats it wide to Gibbons. Out of trouble.
That was a great kick from Curnow. Let Gibbons run onto the ball. Beautiful play. Silvani, the fly from behind, gets to the front of the pack, and that is a cracking mark, that one. Jack Silvani, great play. Look at the kick too. Cripps. Mackay comes across the front. Cripps goes again. Murphy twisting and turning. Ran in and out of trouble, and then back into it again, and Hawthorn have got the resulting turnover.
Mitchell put it at the feet, though. Had to go back and get it and flick it back, Phillips. To Mitchell. Feeds it wide. Race on. Koziski got there ahead of Wiedering. Tried to turn him inside out. Wiedering didn't bite. Back to Phillips. Under some pressure. Back to Impey. The Blues zone up.
If the forwards from Carlton can work out their leading patterns and stop running into each other, I think Cripps had a mountain of space. If Mackay had realised that and got out of his road, you're having a set shot.
Possession 36 for Mitchell to O'Meara. Number one possession winner on the ground again, Tom Mitchell, as he normally is. Up they fly. McAvoy, good flick on. Wiedering read it, and then he spanked it out of play and puts it in row 4.
He's had a fair run, Tom Mitchell. 44, 46 and 28 the last 3 games.
Harry Mackay just got hitting friendly fire. That last marking contest with Cripps, I think he might have copped a bit of a cork. Or just might have caught one in the backside.
De Koning, grabbed. Oh, that's a ripping tackle. Gone, ball. Good play, Frost. He saw that tackle from about 50 metres. The kick was a little bit over the head, though, of Morrison, who goes hard at the ball. Walsh puts his head and body over it as the boots were coming in. Brave football umpire said, yep, but you didn't do enough when you got it. So Morrison gets the ball out wide. Comes out to Greaves. Greaves looks up, doesn't panic, needs somebody to run at him. Now he gets something. Wingard is always dangerous. At the fall of the ball, he goes again. Spills out to Doherty. Doherty gets the handball going. Sard's got a thumping boot on him. Goes for the handball to Silvani, who runs up the ground to Plowman, to back to Silvani. Silvani, little chip kick out wide to Eddie Betts. Betts has got the ball. Over the top he goes. Mackay twisting and turning. Back to Silvani, who kept running, but the handball was errant. And it's Reeves who gets it to Greaves. And away go the Hawks.
Outside of the boot, Mongrel straight to Sard, though. And he kicks inside to Setterfield. And the Blues are out. If Walsh can get it, he comes at it, they come at him. Unbelievably good tackle from the captain, McAvoy. Cousins to Mitchell. He bangs it long. Wingard, will he go? He goes. Bounced off his chest. About to crumb his own ball. Crunch. Meat in the sandwich. Hard attack from Stocker. In the back.
Ooh, take a deep breath.
The Blues.
Take a deep breath. Wow, what a game we've got going here. 7 minutes of absolute desperation. Look at McAvoy's chase here. Fantastic.
So you go the Frost tackle and the McAvoy chase down tackle. 2 great efforts.
Have a look at them.
Geez, they're tired, Ed.
Butch Gale would be saying, they're dog-tired out there. And Ted would say, hit the boundary line in 1966. It's picked up by Impey, and away they go. Hawthorn starting to look good. They've just got to get the next kick to connect as Hardwick bombs it long up towards the forward 50. Off the hands of the pack, plenty of Hawks. Morrison kicks it inside 50, but it's only Carlton players back there. And the mark has been taken by Sard. Sard looks up. Gibbons has run hard for the next kick. Not this one, but the next one. Fogarty goes short to Sard. And they're happy to take a breath.
They need a breath. Both teams feel like the midfielders are a breaking strain. What midfield group can hang on the longest and run the hardest?
Well, Brownie, this is where you used to come into your own, man. As they say, the big fellas don't get any shorter as the game goes on.
Here's the big fella, biggest ever to play for Hawthorn. Reeves edged out of it. Frost again. That frosty reception at half-back. He just keeps getting it. And the 1-2 to Moore. Caught high.
Played that well, actually. Leant into it nicely.
Mitchell didn't like what he had long. Jart about to be shut down. Took on Gibbons. Gave the handball up. O'Meara caught. Gibbons caught. Game's gone up a gear. And the crowd absolutely loving it.
It's fantastic, and there's mistakes everywhere, but you've got to settle yourself. If you're out there on the field, you've got to understand that it's high pressure, there's fatigue, there's skill errors. You've got to settle yourself.
O'Meara and Silvani fighting with each other there. There's going to be a big fight for the head job between those two good-looking wrestlers, wouldn't it? But anyway, the mark's been taken by Scrimshaw.
So Hawthorn get a chance here, and I like what Scrimshaw's done. Just relax the group. Make sure you make good decisions, build the ball up a little bit.
And a dangerous kick. Phillips did well enough, was held. Free kick. So Tommy Phillips, one of the best at the Hawthorn Football Club for hardball gets the free kick.
Sometimes you can get caught chasing the scoreboard. 13 points, there's still 12 minutes. You can see there the Hawthorn pressure's great. So that when the opposition have got the ball, your pressure's up. Then when you get a chance to actually access the ball, then you've got to slow the heart rate down.
So Phillips bombs it long, goes over the head of Reeves. One hand there by Morrison. Murphy thrown to the ground, and the ball gets kicked out wide. And they get the mark now, the Carlton Football Club.
I feel as if Hawthorn are coming. So Carlton are the ones that want to slow it down and try and re-energise. Hawthorn are willing to keep the ball moving, I think.
Newman and Williams just trying to see where the next kick will go. He pulls the trigger, and Stocker takes the mark.
But it's a balance, Brownie, isn't it?
Oh, here's Cripps. He gets out through the middle of the ground. Walsh runs one side, Williams the other. He holds the ball beautifully, Cripps, to Williams. Long and strong to Koning. Gets to the front spot, gets shoved out of the way by Frost. Fogarty rather is in there, and we'll have a ball up. 25 metres out from Carlton's goal.
And well done by Frost not to give away a free kick. That ball was coming in with some speed. Had to reference his man, then look back at the ball and not give away a free kick.
He just doesn't lose one-on-ones. He's only lost 13% of one-on-ones this year, Frosty. So the race on. Try and grab it. Impey didn't have it. Dragged down free. You saw by the pressure gauge. Carlton tight at the moment. Hawthorn got a bit of run back, and O'Meara saddles him up, drives him to the deck. Murphy couldn't find a teammate with the handoff. Williams caught. Curnow squeezed it away. Here's Frosty again, and he could be the difference maker. Spears it out towards Howe. Ugly ball, but it might work. The wild beauty of it. Wingard looks up. Big option here. Heads long, goal square. Hand, no mark. Plowman feeds the handball wide. He's got Gibbons, but he's tired. Took a long time to get to it. Tries to work his way into some space. Blasts it toward the wing. Reeves, he's not getting any shorter. Gave it to Howe. Chip kick to Wingard. Almost dragged his team over the line single-handedly last week with a brilliant game. Wingard pulls the kick to the square, can't hit a target, but not a bad spot for a ball in.
So Hawthorn look like they're happy to keep speed on the game, Louis.
Oh, I think so.
They're going to keep rushing. More Carlton players look tired.
But once again, it's a balance. So you've got to understand, is it the right time to go quick? Do we have the players on to go quick? Quite often they've been too rushed and too panicky and given the ball back.
Pitternet rather. Keep going for his French cousin. Pitternet tries to get the ruck work going, and we'll have another ball up. Umpire Margetts having plenty to say. Lewis does well, does very well, extremely well. The kick, though, coming from Cousins under pressure, out of bounds on the full. But it's as far back as you can possibly be at the MCG, right in the back pocket.
And a position on the ground where you're pretty much defensively sound forward of the ball. You'd expect them to go long down the line so you can set up for it. You can anticipate this.
Yeah, 13 points up. You don't go for the switch. He opens it up corridor a little. Silvani flows in. Can't take the mark. Scrimshaw tackled as soon as he grabbed the Sherrin. Ball up.
See, this is where, as a midfield, from a Hawthorn point of view, and even a ruckman point of view, try and get the ball on the outside. Be a little bit more aggressive with your patterns.
McAvoy, but down to Cripps. Stolen back by Howe. The late inclusion. Heads toward half forward and Wingard. Thumped away from him. Great attack from Walsh. Feeds the handball back towards Williams. Collects it. Blasts it wide. Gibbons stands under it. Thumped away from him by Howe. And he just tapped that out in the end. And content to see it out.
He's probably lucky, yeah.
Very lucky.
Normally that gets paid.
I think it might have been over the line.
Over the line,
yeah. Mitchell does well. So too Cousins, a thumping kick. They need a big mark here, the Hawks, off the hands of the pack. Stocker picks it up to Williams, who has found his position in that back line for Carlton today, no doubt about it. CJ's out there, gets the bad bounce, but he gets a second go at it, goes after it. It's bouncing around like a pinball in there at the moment. Jake does it beautifully, got it across to Morrison. Morrison's kicked to the middle of the ground. This is a vital moment in this game. A vital moment in this game. Warple gets it. The turnover. No, he wouldn't give it up, but he might be gone. No, says the umpire. Had he given it up there, Carlton were away to the races.
Great call. It's high stakes, isn't it? You just feel like every possession, every moment someone goes near the ball, it's an important moment.
Beautiful tap from De Koning. Hard at the ball was Curnow. Free kick, Carlton in the middle of the MCG.
And there's nothing better than hearing the crowd involved in the game.
Yeah, they're getting loud right now. Plowman on the move. Chips the kick short in the end. Owies. Back to Plowman. Runs to the 50. Feeds it out wide. Cottrell. A huge moment in the game. And he misses his near side.
His first behind. He's kicked 4 straight coming up to that moment.
Straight down the middle of the ground.
So 14 points. They've got to kick 3 goals in just a tick under 8 minutes, Hawthorn. So they're going to have to go now. Doherty's had a beauty today. He's really put himself on the line. Howe. Grabbed. Held. Umpire bounces.
Well, they're out on their feet, both sides, but you could just see when Hawthorn had a chance to kick it in.
They need to go, didn't they?
Yep.
Carlton are tired, so Hawthorn need to really press the football now. Keep it moving.
So McAvoy gets the tap. Centre field. Close to the boundary line.
So they need to keep speed on the game. If you're going to go down, swing.
I'd love if they brought Bruce up or Wingard up to be around the ball. Give them a little bit of speed on the ball.
Interesting.
Yeah, Warple's trying to get over there and help Cousins out with the Walsh matchup.
Doherty dumped and hard. Curnow comes up with it. Great smother though, the desperation personified there. Put his heart and soul into that smother, Cousins, and it's a ball in.
It's one thing you can't question coming here today, the effort of both teams.
Back into play. Flick down, central. Bruce had a sneaky chance. Couldn't get away with it. Howe, little paddle out to Impey on the move. Hands up to Bruce on the move. Looks around. Eat my dust. Heads long. Inside 50, Kaczynski. He owes them one. Jones shuts him down. Rolls him in the tackle. Ball. Didn't have a lot of prior.
Jeez, hot on that. Wow. It's a critical tackle, though. Lucky. Well, not lucky, but it was good technique not to give the free kick away. In the back, well done by Jones, great chase back.
Jones kicks out wide. Might have been play on it, I think. Came out in the tackle.
Yeah, but I liked it. Luke Bruce further up the field.
He did that a lot during the premiership years, Louis. He'd come up and support your midfield.
And you can see him up here again. So they've brought it forward up to the stoppage, Hawthorn.
So the Hawks need one right now. McAvoy in the ruck. Suddenly, the ball's going their way. O'Meara couldn't quite grab it, though. Oh, Frost, hard at the ball. Silvani at the back, kicks it beautifully to guess who? Eddie Betts!
Jesus, good kick, was it?
It was a beauty of a kick. Silvani knew he only had to get it within a couple of metres of Eddie. He'd do the rest, but for the second time at this end, Silvani's entry has been absolutely sensational.
Got to keep your feet. Both Hawthorn defenders go over. Frost and Hartigan hit the deck. Silvani kept his feet. Try and teach the young kids junior football. That's why it's so critical.
Eddie Betts has kicked 2 this afternoon from 45 directly in front. Near side.
Sure.
No. And behind,
So this one has to go down the middle of the ground.
15 points the margin. 3 goals in 6 minutes. Been done before. Dance step on Silvani. Didn't quite work. Blues have the numbers for the contest. Ball flicked away from Williams. Plowman. Wobbles it wide. Boundary line, not such a bad option. Bounced on the line, stayed in. A few of them stopped.
It's been unlucky there. Hardwick wanted to play on.
It was a poor kick.
The ball. It was a poor kick, but the umpire didn't get the Carlton defender back to 15 metres. He only went back about 10 or 12 metres, which affected his Hardwick's ability to get it out long.
just 1 goal in this quarter so far, so the play basically non-stop. 5 minutes and 20 on the clock. Phillips almost gets the free kick, then just hatches it. And the ball up right on the boundary line. So Mitchell up to 41 touches. He averages 39.5 against Carlton, believe it or not. And Big Harry comes out full-chested and takes the mark. Now he's going to run the clock down here, Harry. He's going to kick from 55. He wants to get a full 30 seconds off the clock.
Well, I think he's fooled the umpires, but certainly the Hawthorn defenders are still shouting, pointing, making sure the dangerous space inside the forward 50 is covered.
If he's smart here, he'll be able to kick. If he run out to the left, he'll make up a couple of metres.
Umpire calls play on, and Big Harry gives it a roost. He gives it a magnificent roost. He's kicked the goal. Harry Mackay. What a goal for Carlton.
What a kick. He embraced the moment. He seized the moment. This is what I've loved about Harry Mackay of recent weeks. Hasn't had big first 2 or 3 quarters, but he fights back. He keeps competing, and he kicks goals. He contributes to his team late in games. That shows me that he's a great competitor, Jordan.
Yeah, I agree. And as soon as he kicked that goal, and I know it's not a final, you think back to Franklin, sort of 07, when the moment's there, and when you're a young key forward, and you haven't had the best day, to have a kick like that when the game is on the line, 55 out, to really seal the win for your team, the ripple effect that has on your team, the confidence it gives the rest of the players out there is huge.
So 8 clear in the race for the Coleman. 4:26 left. More importantly, the Blues been under pressure in recent weeks. David Teague, the team, what do you got left? Lost a few games they could have won. In the box seat now, Stocker knocks it out towards Jones. Newman held his ground. Sard, Doherty wobbles it, but Impey is about to track it. Still some belief amongst the Hawthorn players. They look at the scoreboard, only 22 minutes gone on the scoreboard. Sard got there late. Good fake. Better kick. Eddie Betts, 2 to beat. Frosty again at half-back. Straight to Jack. Will he run? He has to run. Time is of the essence. He flicks it wide to Hardwick and allows him to run. Kind bounce. Mitchell. Possession number 43 for Mitchell. Crutch. They've both gone down. O'Meara hasn't moved. Newman looks up. Still hasn't moved, O'Meara. Ball to Walsh. He was the star early. Eddie Betts. Frost again. Knocks it towards the boundary. 3 minutes left. And all eyes now on O'Meara, who's in a lot of trouble.
He's moving though.
His shoulder looks like that's what he's hurt there, by the looks of it. Players down all over the ground at the moment.
It's been a pretty tough game, Ed.
Oh, has it?
A lot of running involved. Players are really tired. There's been some injuries. Been some hard contests as well.
So Jago O'Meara getting up, which is the great news. Look at this. Eyes for the ball.
His commitment.
Might have been a head clash as well. There was definitely a head clash. So Plowman went down, and O'Meara coming the other way was a little bit more open. Probably appreciates Rich Lewis giving him a rub in the head, but maybe after the game.
Can't question his toughness.
No, look at that.
Tough, yeah.
So O'Meara coming from the ground, Hawthorn playing one short basically here. So Reeves does the ruck work. Setterfield's kick to the top of the square. Cripps waits, tackles, and the umpire bounces.
I've seen Cripps' game, Luke.
Oh, I don't think he's had a huge influence around the stoppage. I think he's been more of an inside type of player today. He's finished with the 23 disposals, but Walsh has probably been their best midfielder.
Setterfield gets the kick away. It's high. It's goal square. It's Frost. Well, he thought he took the mark in the field of play. Been caught behind, so it'll come back.
In saying that, Brown, he has had 10 tackles, so he's got his knees dirty today. Sorry.
Jones attacks it. Fired it in, couldn't bring it down. Lewis, Hanrahan, Reeves, not a lot to go too long. Cousins can't collect, and Walsh, he just backpedaled out of the pack with the ball. McAvoy, Impey, Morrison. Blues have got a couple of behind the ball. One of them Pitnett. Thrust it down to Doherty. Feeds the handball to Newman. Back again to Gibbons. Saad floats it back towards the wing. Impey got there. Oh, he's... brilliant grab.
So the clock's starting to become the friend of the Carlton Football Club as Setterfield. Got a good day today, goes short with a kick, just measures it beautifully. And Curnow takes the mark, and he will take his 30 seconds.
I'm just saying that Brownie Cripps is the #1 pressure player on the ground.
Yes,
so that's it's not kicks, marks, handballs, is it?
He's got criticism at times during the year, just with his ability. How much can he contribute defensively?
So
it's a good
Curnow
return.
will have to kick this 55. Runs round, called play on, and he has thumped this just offline though, and through for a behind. A minute 28 on the clock.
Long launch in the McAvoy direction. Jones got up there with a fist. Curnow got it from Walsh. Spears it through the traffic. Scrimshaw waited for it. Reeves, Mitchell, Impey, Jarth. Cut off by Doherty. Carlton fans roaring at the moment. They've loved every minute of this last term.
It's a pretty good day too, Sam Doherty. Dwayne.
He sits it up. Mackay down there. Frost up there. Can't take the mark. Jarth off hands. Gave it to Impey. Being pursued. On the bounce, Lewis. Can't collect it. Wienering almost shut him down. Back towards Impey. Back towards the wing. And Jones! Beautiful float. Got himself some hang time and pulled down a ripper.
They've been solid in defence, he and Wienering. Not much has got past. They haven't marked a lot. Not many intercept marks, but they've just been solid. Made it really tough for Hawthorn to get through.
So Williams has had a
Seconds
big day.
tick down.
Good man.
Cripps. Last 4 games they've lost, the Blues have been against the top 4 teams in the comp. They've been showing some form, but they needed to parlay that into a win this afternoon. And they've done it. .23 points the final margin. A 4th win for 2021. And the smiles tell you the story.